combat right-wing values. It's like they've gotten more loony to deal with loony people on the right and don't even realize they've become their own enemy. They've become something that the left was never. The left was always, when I was a young person, was always the most tolerant of the groups. This doesn't seem to be the case now. It seems to be that they're only tolerant if you follow the ideology that they follow. And if you don't, there's no discussion about it. You're a hateful person, and there's this immediate hot take. You hate. You do this. It's bigotry. There's no room for discussion, information. No room for actual science. No room for understanding the nuance of psychology.
It's not absolutely very, very, very difficult. And I can probably count on maybe a few fingers the number of people I know who are doing it and are not ideological and are ethical as scientists and have no agenda and they're not trying to push any particular findings. They're just doing the research as a good scientist would to see what they find.
And these people that are doing this, are they primarily in the United States? Are there other countries that have different perspectives on this, where they're more open to this kind of research and just purely from a scientific standpoint trying to get happening?
Most are in North America. It really just depends, I think, also on where you're able to get funding. So that's one of the key issues, right, in terms of the research you do. If you can't get your study funded, then you can't do anything. So we're very lucky in Canada. I would say we have a really good, my colleagues have been able to get funding quite readily here, but it's more the political climate, I think, that is really turning people away from studying subjects that would be of interest and that I think are important.
What do you attribute when you see a culture like Thailand, for instance, that has a large number of like ladyboys? What do you think causes that? Is that an attitude difference? Is it a cultural difference? Is it a biological difference? Or is it just a myth that there are a larger percentage of transsexuals in certain places?
If there is a larger percentage of people who
they're known for it.
Transition, right? I would think it could be culturally determined in some ways too, because there are some cultures where being someone who's born male who's very feminine may be encouraged to transition because it's more acceptable to be a feminine woman. And I do think if we go back to the children
and give them hormone blockers, and I have no business to tell them differently. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I just know that it's a real thing. And step back and go, what would have happened 20 years ago? What would have happened 30 years ago? Is that better, or is this better? Or just let the child become a grown adult and decide for themselves? Or is it better to step in and, for whatever reason, decide that Billy is really Sally? I don't know. And I don't think that's why this discussion is so important, because the ramifications of making a wrong choice or of deciding for that child, it's so great.
Can I ask you, how do you deal with the pushback? Because it doesn't seem to, and I'm wondering, has it always been like that for you, or was it a very conscious decision on your part to just not listen to it?
I know where I'm coming from. I know I'm not a hateful person, and then when there's a lot of people that have all sorts of crazy opinions about me. There's nothing I can do about that. I just remain true to myself or discuss things that I'm curious about. That's it. Yeah, there's blowback, but there's blowback with everything I do. There's not a damn thing I can do. People getting upset at me. I just have too much reach now. There's too many people coming in.
They see you as a threat.
I don't know why. I'm not a threat. I might be. If you have a rigid ideology that doesn't make sense, I oppose that idea that this rigid ideology that doesn't make sense should just be left alone and never discussed. The only thing it's a threat to your own personal mindset. I'm not doing anything to anyone. Just talking about things. Think of me as a threat.